I think right here today, considering all of the social media, all of the outlets for attention, Caitlin Clark by far today is the most sought after popular star.
LPGA just did everything. They did it all correct in literally one day.
You might think you know the Caitlin Clark story, the record-breaking shots, the sold-out arenas, the fierce rivalries that define her career. But the single most calculated and devastating move she ever made to silence her critics and leave her rivals utterly speechless didn't happen on the basketball court. It happened in a place no one saw coming, with a weapon no one even knew she possessed.
Golf media is pumped about Caitlin Clark, as they should be. So many more new fans are going to be tuning in to golf who never would have otherwise.
That weapon was a golf club. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the pristine fairways of the John Deere Classic Pro-Am, the sports world was collectively confused. This was supposed to be a fun, casual celebrity appearance, a brief distraction before her real job began. But the crowds that swarmed the course told a different story. They were bigger, louder, and more electric than those for many of the seasoned professionals competing. They weren't there to see a gimmick. They were there to witness a phenomenon unfold.
I'm sure she's going to get quite a few from Nelly. Maybe, fine-tune that part of it. But,
like that plan.
I mean, you're an athlete. You're used to crowds, and I'm sure you play better under pressure.
Any lingering thought that this was just a simple publicity stunt was obliterated with her very first swing. Paired with PGA Tour veteran Zach Johnson, a former Masters champion, Clark unleashed a thunderous, laser-straight drive down the fairway that sent a palpable shockwave through the gallery. This wasn't the clumsy, awkward swing of a basketball player trying a new hobby for laughs. It was the confident, fluid, and powerful motion of a natural-born athlete. And it served as a precise statement. She wasn't just there to participate, she was there to dominate.
So there comes the female GOAT, and these women are going from having 3,000 people in their arenas to 20,000.
But the moment that truly broke the internet, the shot that would be replayed millions of times, was yet to come. On one hole, faced with a seemingly impossible 50-foot putt for eagle, Clark lined it up with the same cold, calculating focus she brings to a game-winning free throw in a championship match. The crowd held its breath as the ball rolled, and then, as if guided by an unseen force, dropped directly into the cup. The explosion of cheers was deafening. It was the kind of shot most professional golfers dream of making once in a season, and a rookie from the WNBA had just sunk it effortlessly, almost casually. This wasn't luck. It was a clear and undeniable warning.
I was trying to think of who else maybe could play today, especially in women's sports, that would create this kind of attention. Current player. And, I mean, the true buzz that Caitlin Clark has shown across the entire sports world in such a short period of time.
Whispers quickly spread among the professionals on the course, shifting from curiosity to outright disbelief. They weren't just impressed, they were stunned. In hushed, almost reverent tones, they spoke about her raw power, her impossibly smooth swing, and her ice-cold composure under the unrelenting gaze of thousands of fans and rolling cameras. These were seasoned veterans, men and women who had dedicated their entire lives to mastering this torturous sport. And yet, they couldn't comprehend how someone could just pick up a club and look so polished, so perfect, so practiced.
Ripping it down the middle. Showing some deft wedge game as well. I'm not buying her comments yesterday that the only thing
Ripping it straight down the middle, joining some of the best in the game, Caitlin Clark made it clear she wasn't there to play around. I'm not buying her comments from the day before that all she wanted was to have fun. Publicly, Clark was the picture of humility, laughing it off and insisting she was just there to enjoy the moment. But those who have followed her career knew better. Behind that disarming smile was the same killer instinct that has defined her on the court. Her claims of being nervous felt less like genuine fear and more like a calculated strategy lowering expectations just before shattering them into a million pieces. She brought the same fierce determination that made her a basketball icon, and the results were nothing short of spectacular.
And the last thing I'll ask is, there are a lot of fans here for 7 a.m. Pro-Am. What were the nerves like hitting your opening tee shot here compared to what you normally do on the basketball court?
I don't get nervous for basketball, but I got a little nervous for this because I don't want to hit anybody, but honestly, I'm just trying to have fun.
But this performance didn't come out of nowhere. While it may have seemed to the world that she simply showed up and dominated, that narrative ignores the essence of who Caitlin Clark truly is. This was no fluke. It was the product of a ferocious work ethic forged in the shadows, countless hours of unseen practice, meticulous attention to detail, and an unshakable will to succeed. All of it culminated in a debut that felt nothing short of historic. Her natural agility blended seamlessly with an uncanny ability to read the course and execute shots with surgical precision, leaving both spectators and analysts in complete awe.
Complete awe.
First of all, we're thankful that she's here. Kind of the one on, when you talk about women's sports, she's kind of, other than Nelly, it's been Caitlin.
Almost instantly, as videos of her performance hit the web, social media went into complete and utter meltdown. Clips of her flawless drives, and of course, that unbelievable eagle putt went viral, racking up tens of millions of views within hours. The hashtag Caitlin Clark Golf trended worldwide, surpassing even major news stories. Suddenly, people who had never watched a minute of golf in their lives were glued to their screens, sharing, commenting, and debating. In a single afternoon, Clark had turned golf into a must-see event, and in doing so, sent a quiet but terrifying message to her rivals.
Caitlin Clark has been the best thing, the most dominant thing. Remember, there's been good players come out of college, but nobody really cared. We'd seen it. Nobody really cared.
That single afternoon of golf fundamentally shifted the entire conversation around her legacy. The debate was no longer about whether she was the greatest college basketball player of all time or the future of the WNBA. Suddenly, her name was being mentioned alongside multi-sport legends like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, athletes whose physical gifts transcended the boundaries of a single game. Commentators began asking a new, much bigger question. Is Caitlin Clark one of the greatest pure athletes of her entire generation? She wasn't just dominating a sport. She was redefining what it means to be a GOAT.
I know that you work really hard in the off-season. You said yesterday you're always trying to get better. What's the thing that you're working on this off-season?
I think, honestly, besides the actual basketball skill part of it, I think getting stronger, that's what I'm focusing on. I'm in the weight room a lot, just building that strength. Obviously, it was hard going right from the college season to the professional season. We would spend a lot of time in the weight room, so.
This performance echoed a ghost from sports history, the Michael Jordan effect. When Jordan walked away from basketball at his peak to play baseball, it wasn't just a career change. It was a declaration of his almost mythical athletic prowess. It proved he existed on a different plane than his rivals. Caitlin Clark's day on the golf course did the exact same thing. It was a bold, calculated power move that elevated her from basketball star to cultural icon. A living reminder that her talent and charisma might truly have no limits, just as Jordan's did decades before.
Caitlin Clark does is kind of simple, really. She shows up at games, she signs autographs, she talks to little girls wearing jerseys, she smiles to the crowd, and then here's the most important thing. She competes like a maniac. I mean like a maniac.
This was a direct and brutal repudiation of the skeptics who had tried to put her in a box. Many critics, and even some fans, claimed that her aggressive, high-octane basketball mentality was too chaotic for a sport built on calm precision like golf. They believed her relentless energy and rapid-fire decision-making would be a weakness, not a strength. But with every controlled, powerful, and elegant swing, she systematically dismantled that narrative, proving her athleticism wasn't confined by style or sport. It was universal.
She was at some Pro-Am tournament, and she's got a gallery full of people around her, and she shanks one. She hits a low dart right in the crowd, and then the scary thing is she re-tees.
Yeah.
She takes a ball and goes right back to the tee, and you can see the gallery like, oh my God, she's going again to start to...
While Clark was conquering a new world, Her rivals were left watching, trapped in the same old narrative. This golf exhibition was a strategic masterstroke, an indirect but absolutely devastating blow. It showcased a level of global appeal and athletic versatility that her on-court competitors simply couldn't match. It was a silent checkmate. Clark was playing a grand, multi-dimensional game of chess, while they were still stuck playing checkers on a single board.
It's going to be huge. That's why they expanded the coverage around it, and that's why you see, some of the talking heads in the golf space getting really excited, because they know what's about to come down this week once Caitlin Clark tees off.
This move was a form of psychological warfare, and it was brutally effective. It planted a seed of doubt in the minds of her competitors. How do you compete with someone who doesn't seem to have any limits? While rivals like Angel Reese and Aja Wilson focused on physical battles and media sound bites, Clark operated on an entirely different level. She wasn't just trying to beat them in a game. She was establishing an aura of complete and utter invincibility.
She would not have joined the WNBA. These numbers would not be the way that they are with or without her, right? So it's not about Caitlin Clark not being in the finals or being in the finals. It's the fact that Caitlin Clark is in the league that is allowing other teams to still have these pretty decent ratings in the finals.
This created an absolute nightmare scenario for Angel Reese. Reese had meticulously built her entire brand around being Caitlin Clark's on-court foil, the gritty, unapologetic antagonist in their highly publicized rivalry. But while Reese was busy with trash talk and on-court antics, Clark was transcending the sport entirely. Her spectacular golf performance made Reese's rivalry feel one-dimensional and small, proving that while Reese was focused on winning a battle, Clark was busy conquering an empire.
Caitlin Clark does maybe better than anybody in sports right now and makes it about others, makes it about team. Think about it. When's the last time you didn't see Caitlin Clark talking about a teammate? When's the last time you saw Caitlin Clark talking about herself or any of the accomplishments that she has had? Let me give you the answer to that. Never! Never! You never hear that. Now, that's why their team has gotten good. She could have been an egomaniac. Everybody in the league knows that she is.
It also intensified an already growing problem for veterans like Aja Wilson. Wilson and other established stars had subtly voiced frustration over the overwhelming media spotlight on Clark, arguing that their own championship-level accomplishments were being unfairly overlooked. But Clark's viral golf performance blew that gap wide open. She wasn't just a basketball phenomenon anymore. She had become a mainstream cultural force, drawing in fans from entirely different worlds. Suddenly, the complaints from league veterans sounded less like calls for fairness, and more like the frustrations of a generation being left behind.
Clark is becoming the best player, not because she's white, because she's that good. She's having Larry Bird impact. She's been the driving force of the hottest team in the entire league despite her record turnovers. Why? Because she's that good. She's legit good. She's colorblind good. She's guilt-free good. She's apolitically good.
The media instantly latched onto the narrative, casting Clark as the transcendent hero and her rivals as the bitter villains. Every highlight of Clark's flawless golf swing was contrasted with clips of hard fouls against her on the basketball court. She became the image of grace and brilliance, while her competitors were framed as one-dimensional antagonists trying to tear her down. But this wasn't just sports coverage. It was a cultural event that reshaped public perception. By dominating golf, Clark tapped into a new, powerful audience, an older, more affluent demographic that the WNBA and its other stars had long struggled to reach. She proved her appeal extended far beyond basketball, transforming herself into a commercial powerhouse unlike anything women's sports has ever seen. Her success on the course sent shockwaves through the entire league. The Caitlin Clark effect had already been driving record-breaking ticket sales and TV ratings, but now, her multi-sport fame magnified the spotlight even more. Every hard foul, every negative comment, every glare from an opponent became a national talking point, analyzed and judged by millions of new fans fiercely protective of their hero. This was no longer just a game. It was Caitlin Clark rewriting the blueprint for what a female superstar can be. She shattered the unwritten rule that athletes, especially women, should stay in their lane. She proved that greatness is not confined to one arena, that boundaries exist only to be broken, and that true icons create their own rules. The ripple effects of that single day on the golf course will be felt for years. Clark didn't just raise the bar, she redrew it entirely. She showed a new path to superstardom, one built on versatility, global marketability, and the courage to conquer new worlds. Her performance became a benchmark for how athletic excellence and branding can merge into cultural dominance. And in the aftermath, one chilling, unspoken question echoed across the sports world, a question that surely keeps her rivals awake at night. If Caitlin Clark can casually dominate a sport she doesn't even play, what else is she capable of?